What are we discussing on today's Locked on Diamondbacks podcast? Jordan Montgomery is done for the season. What does it mean for the rotation and the bullpen? And then discussing our big, bold predictions for the 2025 D-back season.
You are Locked on Diamondbacks, your daily Arizona Diamondbacks podcast. Part of the Locked On Podcast Network, your team every day.
Welcome into the Locked on Diamondbacks podcast, part of the Locked On Podcast Network, your team every day. You're listening to who? The always charismatic host of this podcast, Millard Thomas, multimedia journalist, and I'm a graphic designer. So please go check out my website, MillardThomas24.myportfolio.com. I'm there to see my latest work, from my packages to my articles to my photos and my graphic design. On today's Locked on Diamondbacks podcast, we're going to be discussing Jordan Montgomery undergoing Tommy John surgery. News came out of left field. We got to discuss what it means for the rotation and the bullpen. And then it's time for our annual big, bold predictions for the upcoming season. We'll all get into it on today's podcast. So first, I want to say thank you for making Locked on Diamondbacks your first listen every day. I would not be able to do this podcast without you, my loyal listeners, sharing, subscribing, reviewing, doing all that so I could do this podcast for you. Thank you. It's free. It's available on all platforms. So please continue to tell your friends. And one of those platforms is YouTube. Please hit subscribe to Locked on Diamondbacks on YouTube. But now let's get into the Locked on Diamondbacks podcast and let's discuss the Jordan Montgomery news, because we got breaking news on Tuesday that Monty will be missing the rest of the season to undergo Tommy John surgery. This came out of left field. Yes, he came into camp, had a quick injury, had some discomfort, but no one thought it was going to be something this serious. Jordan Montgomery didn't think it was this serious. He thought it was just like slight discomfort, slight soreness. He felt like he didn't bounce back in the same way he normally does. They underwent some light imaging, not thinking that they had anything to worry or be concerned about. Then after undergoing some just precautionary tests, it reveals Jordan Montgomery is going to need Tommy John surgery. Insane news. We just did a podcast yesterday discussing Monty and the bullpen, him and Ryan Nelson, those two guys being the long relievers for the D-backs. And now Monty, a day later, just done for the season after discussing, will he be in the rotation? Will the D-backs do his six-man? Will he be a long reliever? Are the D-backs going to salary dump him before opening day? Or are we going to have to ride with him through the first couple months, maybe until the deadline? Like, there were so many questions and concerns surrounding Jordan Montgomery. He was like a cloud almost hanging over the D-backs, and I am not happy at all that he is hurt. I do not want to say that. Now, I do think his injury helps the D-backs, but I do feel bad for Monty in this situation. I want to see if he could have bounced back and, helped out Arizona this year, made an impact. I didn't want to believe the season he just had in 2024 was more of the same, was what we're going to be accustomed to from Jordan Montgomery going forward, because this was a guy, you look at his numbers prior to 2024, he was really good, really consistent. Was he a tier one ace? No. But was he a guy good enough to be a top two starter on a World Series winning team? Yes, he was, because that's what he did against the D-backs. We were all so excited when he signed with Arizona. We thought he was the cherry on top of an incredible offseason, and he just never materialized last year, came back late, out of shape, was terrible, then came into this camp a lot better in shape. He said he lost a dumbbell's worth of weight, 20 to 25 pounds. Day one, he got hurt, and apparently that could have been the injury that led to this Tommy John. I feel bad for Monty. I feel sad for the whole situation. I want to see him bounce back for the D-backs this year. But now you have to turn the page. He's done for this year. He's going to enter free agency coming off Tommy John surgery, and that basically ends Monty's time with Arizona. I don't see a world where we bring him back in free agency. I don't think he's coming back. And so because of it, Like I said, I'm not happy he's hurt, but this will help the D-backs. I think this raises the ceiling. It takes away those question marks because, like I said, he kind of was a black cloud hanging over the rotation and the bullpen. You are locked into your five-man rotation now. We were already locked in, but you're even more secure. No way Jordan Montgomery weasels his way in or becomes a six-man. Ryan Nelson, we now know you're the first man up. If there's injury, you're the go-to long reliever. If someone starts to struggle, through the first couple innings. And now you look at the bullpen with Monty out of there. Could it be Shelby Miller, Bryce Jarvis, Dre Jameson to replace him? I feel like Shelby Miller is probably the logical choice. I don't know. It's either going to be him or Bryce Jarvis. I think are going to be first up to replace Jordan Montgomery for his role in the bullpen. But I can't deny the D-backs bullpen just got better. I mean, the idea of adding Bryce Jarvis, who was a 3.12, who was he, like a 3.19 ERA last year, used in a lot of mid to high leverage moments, a lot of extended innings, can throw hard. The fact that he could be a replacement for Jordan Montgomery, or it's Shelby Miller, who was not great last year, but the year prior for the LA Dodgers in the NL West was fantastic. A sub-2 ERA. If you could get that guy, and of course, the redemption narrative with Shelby Miller is also a lot of fun. Or it could be Dre Jameson, someone who has good career numbers so far. Maybe not a large sample size, but so far this spring training, we've seen him touch 100 pretty consistently. Like, whoever is replacing Jordan Montgomery just has way more velocity, way more upside, and it just raises the ceiling overall of this D-backs team. And so it's sad to see Jordan Montgomery get hurt, but there probably wasn't really another way for him to get off this roster because it sounded like there weren't a lot of teams lining up to get Monty. Yes, they might have called, or maybe they even answered the phone from the D-backs, but it sounded like the D-backs were going to have to pay almost all of his salary if they want to trade Monty. It sounded like teams are asking the D-backs to pay at least 13 of like the $22 million he's owed. And it's just a tough business deal to do. I think the D-backs would have done it if the right deal came into place because at least it's only 1 year's worth of salary, but it would have been a straight up salary dump. There was no way for you to get really anything of return in Jordan Montgomery. And so this just might be, it's not the best case scenario for Monty, but it might end up being the best case scenario for the D-backs. And now you just go back and look at Monty's numbers with Arizona and you compare it to Madison Bumgarner. And it's like those two guys, just their career with Arizona, both those guys, I don't think they want it on their resume. I don't think it's something that they're going to be telling their grandchildren about. And as bad as Mad Bum was, Monty finishes his D-backs career with a worse ERA than Mad Bum. Mad Bum finishes with a 5.23 ERA in 363 innings pitched, a pretty large sample size. Monty, in how many innings pitched? 117. He has a 6.23 ERA. Somehow he has a worse ERA than Mad Bum, but Mad Bum did have a larger sample size, so I guess that makes sense. Feel bad for Monty. He enters free agency coming off Tommy John, but I can't help but feel like this is better for the D-backs, might even lead to more wins, a better output on the season. And so we'll see how this affects my prediction for how many wins the D-backs will finish with in 2025, which we'll discuss in segment number 2. If you are out here and you're trying to manage your money, then I suggest using Monarch Money because ever check your bank account and wonder, where did all my money go? Between dining out, online shopping, and entertainment, it's easy to lose track. That's where Monarch Money comes in. Your personal CFO giving you full visibility and control over your finances. Monarch Money isn't just a budgeting app, it's a complete financial command center. You can track all your accounts, investments, and spending in one place, so you stop just managing your money and start building wealth. When I started using Monarch, I realized just how much I was spending on food delivery. Now I budget smarter and save more. Take control of your finances with Monarch Money. Use code LOCKEDONMLB at monarchmoney.com for 50% off your first year. That's monarchmoney.com, code LOCKEDONMLB for half off your first year. That's monarchmoney.com. Welcome back into the Locked on Diamondbacks podcast. And now let's discuss our big, bold predictions for 2025. And the first prediction that I want to discuss, because I don't really have any particular order, I just kind of wrote down all my predictions. They're not really power ranked in any sort of way, so don't think this is a pyramid of predictions. The first prediction, we've been dancing around it. We've been talking about it a little bit on the podcast. I'm going to be official with it now. Corbin Carroll will have a 30 home run, 35 home run, 60 stolen base season. I think this will be the best power output of Corbin Carroll's career. And you might think 35 sounds like too much. Well, first of all, he was at 22 last year when we felt like he was terrible, at least in the first half. He had 25 the year before. So it's not like he's that far off away from just 30 in general. And for Corbin Carroll, it's more about looking at his seasons and splitting it up into two halves, because when you look at his 2024 season and you look at the second half, what he did in the last 64 games of 2024, he had 17 home runs. If you look at his first half of 2023, those 86 games, he had 18 home runs. Well, if you want to do some quick math, 86 plus 64 is 150 games. 18 plus 17 is 35 home runs. So in the first half of 23 combined with the second half of 24, he had 35 home runs in 150 games. It is possible for Corbin Carroll to have a 35 home run season. And if he does, that means he's incredible at the plate. That means he's getting on base a ton. And when Corbin Carroll gets on base, his speed picks up. That's when he likes to steal more bags. As we saw, he did not steal a lot of bags in the first half last year. As soon as his offense picked up in the second half, he started running away on the base paths. And in 23, he had 54 steals with an 868 OPS. If he has 35 home runs, that OPS is probably going to be around 900. That 362 OBP in 23, it might be around 385 in 2025 if he taps into a little bit more power. And if that's the case, I think he's going to steal a few more bags if he's on the base a few more times. And so bet on the over when it comes to Corbin Carroll on his home runs on FanDuel. I actually don't know what they are, if they even have him to hit, if they even have fun Corbin Carroll odds. I'm looking at it right now. I don't think Corbin Carroll is even on FanDuel to hit 30 home runs. Oh, here he is. Corbin Carroll to hit 30 home runs is plus 255. So if you want to at least make money on Corbin Carroll hitting 30 home runs, plus 255 right now on FanDuel, I think you should definitely do that. Then if you think he's going to steal 60 bags, like I believe, plus 830 on FanDuel, which is insane. If you think he's going to steal 50 bags, plus 360 on FanDuel right now, Tuesday at 3:05 p.m. So I think Corbin Carroll, 35 home runs, 60 stolen base is definitely in play if he combines his 23 first half, 24 second half. And I think also maybe go place some money down on FanDuel over on home runs, or not over on home runs, but at least 30 home runs and at least 50 to 60 steals. You can make some serious money on Corbin Carroll if he hits those numbers this season. My next prediction, I think this is the year Moreno takes the leap as an offensive player. He's been kind of flirting, teasing with us. He's a guy who's had very high averages throughout his career. He's a career 280 guy. He's a guy, his numbers are pretty solid at runner scoring position. We saw last year numbers were really good when he batted second. I think this is the year he takes the leap and he finishes top 5 in WRC plus among all catchers in not just the National League, but Major League Baseball. Last year, among guys with at least 300 plate appearances among catchers, he finished 12th in WRC plus. We know his defense is elite, and we've seen his offense flash at times, but the issue is, feels like he always gets hurt right at the time when he's on his heater, right at the time when he's like really streaking. And so for Moreno, if this is the year he stays healthy, doesn't have that big injury in the middle of the season, I think he's going to take that leap as an offensive player. I think what we saw from him last year offensively, he started to show like progression in like his evolution as a guy at the plate. And I think that's going to continue to improve. He's always been a great contact hitter. The next evolution is tapping into a little bit more power. Maybe the over-the-fence power isn't there for him right now, but I think he's going to smash a ton of doubles. Maybe he gets to like 12 home runs. And overall, I think he's going to produce an RBI clutch situations because I think that's the kind of guy he is. And he has great plate discipline. which is very important. Like, not a lot of catchers have that. A lot of catchers like to strike out. Moreno last year cut his strikeout rate to 15%, down from 20% the year prior. He's almost like another Geraldo Perdomo type. And so Moreno, with that great plate discipline, with that great contact ability, I think we're going to see him take another leap as an offensive player and finish top 5 among catchers in WRC Plus in Major League Baseball in 2025. Then the last prediction I want to give in segment number 2. This is another one that we've been dancing around a lot this offseason, but again, I'm going to put my money where my mouth is. Eugenio. I think we're going to see pre-pandemic Eugenio in 2025. And another way you could package this prediction is we're going to see the second half of Eugenio all season long, which I think, because basically the second half of Eugenio is how he used to play. You look at his numbers, 2019, 49 bombs, 270 average, 930 OPS. Now, maybe he's not 49 home runs good, but the year prior, he was 34 home runs, 104 ribbies, and an 892 OPS. Even the year before that, he was at 828 OPS. Like, in 2018, 2019, this was like a 900 OPS, 40 home run, 100 RBI guy. And last year, he was still almost 800 OPS, still 30 home runs, and 100 RBIs. But I think the game-to-game impact is just going to feel so much more monstrous from a slugging perspective, because that's really the difference. When you look at 2018, 2019, he was over 500 slugging, 526 in 2018, 572 in 2019. I think he's going to get back to a 500 slug in 2025 because he has not done that since 2019. That is the difference. We've seen him hit 30 home runs 3 of the last 4 years. We know he has over the fence power, but just overall, the ball just ripping off the bat of Eugenio. He hasn't done it at the level since 2019, since 2018. And so I think what we've seen from him this spring training, he's been crushing it at the plate. I think he discovered something in his swing in the second half of 2024. And also, he just seems like a guy that's super comfortable at Chase Field. I feel like he's found a home with Arizona. Seemed like he was a little unhappy those last couple of years in Seattle. I mean, they straight up salary dumped Eugenio to the Dbacks. They thought he was not worth anything. He ended up coming here and being so fantastic in the second half of the year. And when you look at the numbers, like I just said, 853 OPS at home last year. He loves playing in front of this D-backs fan base, loves playing in front of the home crowd. I think his stats are going to continue from the second half of last year. We're going to get pre-pandemic Eugenio, more like another 35 home runs, another 100 ribbies, and maybe like an OPS around 825. But really, it's the slug that's going to be big for Eugenio this upcoming year. I believe he's going to be back to a 500 slug for the first time since 2019. Now we'll continue our D-backs bold predictions in segment number 3. Looking for a snack that's both delicious and nutritious? Crack into a good source of protein with Wonderful Pistachios. Wonderful Pistachios is one of the highest protein nuts. Each 1 ounce serving has 6 grams of protein, giving you over 10% of your daily value. Plus, they're packed with fiber and better for you unsaturated fats to help keep you feeling fuller longer. My favorite Wonderful Pistachios I actually have right here. Sorry to the audio listeners only. You're going to have to go to YouTube for this one because right next to me, I got 3 of my favorite flavors here. And this is what is great about Wonderful Pistachios. Unsalted right here, no shell. Chili roasted, no shell. And then this one is roasted and salted with the shell. The great thing about Wonderful Pistachios is the variety. You could get salted, unsalted, with shell, no shell. Get a little kick to it if you wanted to. No matter what flavor you want, they have a variety and a profile that fits just for you. So please go get yourself some Wonderful Pistachios. Get snacking and get cracking with the snack that packs a protein punch. Visit wonderfulpistachios.com to learn more. Get the supplies you need from the site made for the skilled trades, Supply House. Whether you're in plumbing, HVAC, or electrical work, Supply House is the reliable way to order products online. Their easy-to-use website is packed with helpful resources and the latest product info to help you get the job done right. Plus, with the complete inventory of 200,000 parts from 400 top brands. You'll find exactly what you need delivered fast from coast to coast. Need help with an order? Supply House offers expert support and industry-leading service, so you'll always talk to a real person. And for trade pros looking for an extra edge, their free Trade Master program offers exclusive perks like a dedicated phone line, free shipping, and discounts on every order. Thousands of skilled professionals are already taking advantage. Now it's your turn. Join the Trade Master program today at supplyhouse.com/TM and start ordering plumbing, HVAC, and electrical supplies with just a few clicks. Plus, use promo code SHF for 5% off your first order. That's supplyhouse.com. Welcome back into the Locked on Diamondbacks podcast, and let's finish up with our bold predictions for 2025. Next up, this is a Dbacks team prediction. I do believe the Dbacks are going to win 93 games in 2025, exactly 93. Their over-under right now on FanDuel is 86.5. Again, please go on FanDuel. Please smash that over-under. I think that is disrespectful, fair to say. I don't want to disrespect our friends at FanDuel, but 86.5 wins for a team that won 89 games last year. Can make the argument they upgraded their first base offensively, at least. And then they added one of the best pitchers in the sport in Corbin Burnes to their roster as well. Like, this is a team that's a well-oiled machine. And again, I'm sad to see Monty go, but their one issue on their team, if you had one, was Monty. What do you do with him? Is he just going to be a hole on this roster? Like, he was just clogging up a spot on this bullpen, and now he's gone. And it's like Dre, Bryce, Shelby Miller, one of them is clearly an upgrade over Monty. And so it's like, this D-backs team has no flaws. What is it? Their rotation is 5 deep. They got a 6-man ready in the wings. They got flamethrowers in the back end of the pen who you really trust. You got a lineup that is 9 deep. Like, there are no holes on this D-backs team. So 93 wins. Yeah. Why should I believe a team coming off 89 win season with the best offense in baseball? The only reason they didn't win 90 or make the playoffs is because they had the most hurt rotation arguably in baseball. Yeah, I'm going to bet on that team to win 93 games in 2025. And one quick side note, Kevin Ginkel will be starting the season on the injured list. So we probably will see Shelby Miller and Bryce Jarvis both start the season for the D-backs. I forgot to add that. I forgot to add that. I had that written down in my little notes here. So Ginkel, we will not see him to begin the season with a little shoulder inflammation, but still a lot of belief in this D-backs pen, because think about the depth. Bryce Jarvis, Shelby Miller, Dre Jameson, like, we're down Kevin Ginkel, and I still feel good about the D-backs bullpen. Not a lot of years you could say about that. Next prediction, Justin Martinez will finish top 5 for a single save season in D-backs franchise history. Basically, this is going to be top 5 save season in D-backs franchise history, because it's not that hard to crack the D-backs top 5, unfortunately. You only need 33 saves to be top 5 in a single season for the D-backs among all their closers, which is crazy. So if Justin Martinez, which I believe he will do this year, he's going to have a ton of opportunities. I believe he's going to be named the closer. The D-backs are going to be in a lot of games where they're going to maybe need him to close out. I mean, if their offense is anything like last year, they may not need him to close games, but he's going to get a bulk of those opportunities going into next year. Hopefully all those opportunities. And because this is a good D-backs team, I think Justin Martinez is definitely going to have at least 30 saves. And if he gets to at least 33, that's a top 5 single season in D-backs franchise history. And like I said, if he averages 20 saves a season for the next 5 years, he will finish as the all-time leader in saves in D-backs franchise history, which is crazy to think about. But Justin Martinez is that good. The D-backs all-time saves leaders are not. Maybe for 1 year, but for their career, not a lot of guys you could say, man, that was a great D-backs closer. Justin Martinez will be the first guy. When you think about D-backs closers, Justin Martinez will be the first guy you think about 20 years from now, and it's going to start with his 2025 season. Next one, another team record. D-backs are going to set their new club ERA record. This will be the best season the D-backs ever have from a pitching standpoint, which makes sense. Burnes, Gallen, Kelly, Fott, Erod is a stacked 1-5 with a bullpen that we feel like can complement it. The D-backs all-time record is a 3.66 ERA, which is pretty low, but it wasn't that long ago. 2017, yes, the first year of Torey Lovullo and the D-backs. They had their franchise record in ERA. And when you go back and look at that rotation, it kind of makes sense, to be honest. When you look at the numbers, Greinke had a 3.2, Patrick Corbin 4.03, Robbie Ray 2.89, Taijuan Walker 3.49, and Zach Godley 3.37. That was your 5-man rotation. So it makes sense. The D-backs rotation is going to have to be pretty close to that to break this team record. And you look at the bullpen, I think that's really where the D-backs can win. Fernando Rodney, 4.2 ERA as a closer. Jorge De La Rosa, 4.2. Yeah, TJ McFarland, 5.3. Like, these are guys who were like among the league leaders in innings pitched. And I don't think the D-backs are going to have 3, 4, 5 guys, in their top 8 or 9 in bullpen innings pitch be over a 4 or 5 ERA. Like, I don't think they're going to have 5 or 6 guys over a 4 or 5 ERA that are like significant in their bullpen and innings pitch. I think a lot of the guys for the D-backs this year, when I look at that bullpen, like, is Martinez not going to have a sub-3? Puck's going to have a sub-3. Ginkel's probably going to be around 3. I expect Thompson to be around 3. Mantiply is probably like mid to high 3s. I mean, Jarvis, Shelby, Dre, they call be like mid-3 guys. So can Kendall Graveman. Like, I just expect no one to really have a bad ERA. Like, is that crazy to think about? Like, if everyone pitches like they should, there should be no bad ERAs. And if there is, get them off the roster and replace them with someone ready in the wings, because this D-backs depth is phenomenal. And there can't be anyone on this roster who just around playing and is not producing for this D-backs team. There are too many good players. And so that kind of leads into my next prediction, because this is my only negative prediction that I have. But I think this is the year we end the Alek Thomas experiment. I think if Thomas doesn't produce as an offensive player this year, we stop talking about him as like trying to make him an everyday player, and we just view him as like a trade chip, a defensive piece off the bench. I mean, this is year 4 of Thomas. He has 277 games. He's approaching 1,000 plate appearances, and it just doesn't seem like it's getting any closer to getting better. If anything, if you actually look at the numbers for Thomas, it seems like it's going in the opposite direction. And we love his defense, but the bat, I'm not sure if it's ever going to get there. And so I think this is the year we end the Alek Thomas experiment. That's it for this edition of the Locked On Diamondbacks podcast. Those are my big, bold predictions for the 2025 season. Drop your predictions in the YouTube comment section. And don't forget to send in your questions. We do Mailbag Fridays every Friday, now entering the regular season. So send in your questions before Friday's podcast. And as always, stay safe, stay healthy. Doses.